Two of our close friends are having a baby this year. They looked everywhere to find a baby dresser that they liked and eventually came across this one. They liked it because it was unique. I offered to make one, and they encouraged revisions just to really make it my own. I made some changes, and today I'm going to show you how to make my design, which is this one. I started by asking the nice people at Home Depot to rip this 4x8 sheet of plywood into more manageable parts. The width of these boards is going to determine the depth of your dresser, so be conscious of that. I cut out 3 equal parts at about a 25-inch length, and this is going to make the 2 side walls and the center support. Since this plywood is only 3/4 of an inch thick, any circular saw or miter saw will cut right through it. And these cabinet sidewalls were a little bit deeper than my miter saw could handle, so I had to turn the board around and line it up perfectly. After I cut the first sidewall, I lined that board up with the board on the bottom and cut the bottom board again. This takes the error out of measuring and ensures that all your boards are the same size. I applied the same logic later and also made what would be the top and bottom of the dresser. The top and bottom will also need pocket holes facing outwards because that's how you're going to connect them to the sidewalls. I also encourage using some wood glue just to give the dresser some extra strength. Make sure you're putting your pocket holes on the top and bottom because these parts are never going to be exposed. The top's going to be covered by a tabletop, and well, nobody's going to ever look at the bottom. It also helps to use a 90-degree clamp, but right here I'm showing that it's not absolutely necessary. At this point, our box is looking pretty good, but we still need to add the center support. Keep in mind that the center board is going to be a little bit shorter than the side panels, since it is wedged between the top and bottom, as opposed to being next to them. Your goal is to center this board, and you can do that by making sure that the distance on both sides is equal. And now we can use these self-tapping screws to secure the center panel. This plywood is relatively thin, so I made sure to drill pilot holes to make sure that the screws wouldn't split the wood. Once you secure the front and back screws, the rest of them should theoretically be in a straight line, which makes it that much easier. Next, we have to get rid of these exposed plywood edges. And the easiest way I know to do this is to use a table saw and cut very thin strips of wood, which you're going to glue to these. I put the thin strip of wood against the plywood edge and then marked it out so I could cut it later. After I had that cut, I applied some wood glue to all the plywood edges, and then I used a brad nail gun to secure all the wood pieces in place. Our box was pretty much done at this point, so I milled the 2x4 to get rid of the rounded edges. This 2x4 is going to make our fancy legs. With that said, I made sure to cut it into 4 equal parts. And while we're here, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, so that I can keep making content like this in the future. After I had the 4 legs cut, I used what's called a tapering jig to put an angle on them. You can just buy one of these online, but they do also have a ton of tutorials that'll show you exactly how to make one. Since I'm on a budget for most of my projects, that's exactly what I did, and it was super cheap. If you don't have one of these, you can measure out an angled line and carefully cut it out with a circular saw. Now that I had the 4 legs, I started laying out the base. With each leg on a corner, I marked the distance from one leg to the other and then made a cut. I also wanted to include this really subtle detail that one of my favorite makers, Chris Salomone from 4 Eyes Furniture, adds to some of his pieces. The trick here is to raise the blade a tiny bit and put it really close to the fence. Then you run the legs and the remaining parts of the base through it. And the idea is that you'll get a gap between the dresser and the base once everything's assembled, just as a nice little detail. As part of the base, we're going to need to build something like this twice. Notice that the middle piece attaching the 2 legs is inset a little bit. To achieve this, you're going to grab the middle support and start drilling pocket holes into the sides. This will make it easy to attach it to the 2 legs from the inside. Now keep in mind that I wanted this piece to be inset a little bit. I used a thin piece of wood left over from earlier to push in the middle support a little bit. This is the same piece of wood that we used to cover up the exposed plywood edges. And after the space was created, I started drilling in the pocket hole screws. I then applied the same logic to the long parts of the base. I even added a nice little center support just to help evenly distribute the weight. And to make sure everything fit correctly before getting too far into the process, I tested the fitment of the box. I think the measurements were pretty spot on because everything fit perfectly. Just like with any other dresser, we had to make some drawers now. I won't mention specific sizes because this is really going to depend on the size of your dresser, but I can definitely explain some of the things I did to make the drawer boxes pretty easily. For drawer boxes, I always use 1/2-inch plywood, and I usually have the people at the hardware store rip it down into 18-inch parts. If you're using a full sheet of plywood, this is going to give you 3 equal parts that are all pretty long and easy to break down. Right here, you see me chopping down the pieces to their proper width and depth relative to the drawer. After that, I took them over to the table saw and adjusted their height. And the next step in this lengthy process was to add a drawer bottom. I lined the table saw blade to about half the thickness of the plywood. About 1/2 inch above what's going to be the bottom of your drawer panel, you want to cut a little groove. This is where you're going to slide in your drawer bottom. I tested the fitment using a scrap drawer bottom that I had laying around. Most of these are about 1/5 of an inch thick, and I knew that this wasn't going to fit. I then scooted the table saw fence over a little bit just to widen up the groove at the bottom. I tested the fit after that, and it was time to start assembling the drawer boxes. In a similar fashion to when we created the box for the dresser, you want to make sure that everything's square. It's also convenient to add screws here because they're all going to be hidden anyway, so exposing them doesn't really matter. And notice that I'm using pilot holes because we're working with really thin wood, so again, we want to make sure we don't split this. Assemble your drawer box, but don't add the front side just yet. You can add the front side after you add your drawer bottom. Find the dimensions of your drawer box and make the drawer bottom a little oversized, since this will allow it to fit into the grooves. I created one drawer bottom and tested the fitment, and this allowed me to use it as a template for the rest of the drawer bottoms. Once that's done and everything fits perfectly, you can begin adding the front panels to all the drawer boxes. Once the boxes are built, you can begin adding the drawer boxes to the dresser. You're going to have a lot of plywood left over. Be sure to use your table saw to chop some of it down and create a spacer. Instead of trying to line things up and measure everything perfectly, using spacers allows you to do that automatically. And I hate to create unnecessary drama here, but this was the point at which I realized I didn't order enough drawer slides. I guess a set of 2 drawer slides only covers one drawer. For some reason, I thought that they were referring to a pair of drawer slides. In any other case, this wouldn't have been a big deal, but we were under a time crunch because my friend's baby shower is coming up pretty soon. Anyway, one important detail here is that the drawer slides take up about 1/2 inch on each side. Be sure to take this into consideration when you're creating your drawer boxes. We had a pretty strong foundation for the dresser, but one of the key components here is going to be the tabletop. In this shot, you can see me using a small tool that centers the holes that I'm drilling into the wooden board. And after you've done that to your first board, you can put a dowel in it and line up the tool with the second board. This is going to make putting the tabletop together in terms of strength and alignment pretty easy. I had 4 boards, so I had to do this 3 more times. Another good source of strength for this tabletop is going to be the wood glue, so be sure to spread that nice and evenly. I've gone way more in depth on how to use the dowel tool in one of my other videos, so I'll be sure to link that in the description. And if you have some clamps, that definitely helps squeeze the boards together. Just like I always do, I made my boards oversized so that I can cut them down to the right size. I used a speed square and a spare piece of plywood to make sure my cut would be 90 degrees. Right here, you can see me struggling with an almost dead battery, so I awkwardly ran off and made that swap. And with a full battery, the circular saw was as good as new. Next, I sanded the tabletop just to get rid of any flaws on the surface. I wanted the tabletop to have a nice and modern look to it. Using a router and a roundover bit, I gave the top a quick pass, and I embellished the bottom of the tabletop using a chamfer bit. It's just a small detail, but when you add a bunch of small details together, it really gives you the look you're going for. I grabbed the sander one more time and smoothed out both the top and bottom edges. Once that was done, I started staining using Varathane's carbon gray wood stain. And if you've never stained before, it's really simple. The idea is to cover the wood with wood stain, wipe it off, and then let it dry for a little while. I'm not really sure what these little boundaries are called, but I used my tapering jig one more time to create them. Since they had a slight angle, I figured the tapering jig would be the easiest way to do it. I believe these are there to prevent the baby from rolling off the top of the dresser. They also outline the portion of the tabletop that can be used as a changing table. And since we already mentioned that sometimes measuring leads to more errors, I just used a 1.5 inch board to space all the rails from the edge of the tabletop. And to secure the rails, you can screw them to the tabletop from underneath using the self-tapping screws from earlier. I don't know why I stained the safety rails and the tabletop at 2 different times, but that's just the way it happened. I finished staining, let that dry, and then started sanding the actual dresser. And while I was at it, I added these furniture leg levelers. The idea with these is that if your piece isn't level for whatever reason, you can make a small adjustment and make it level. One added benefit of these is that they're also going to help protect your floor. I'll be sure to link these and some of the other things I used in the description. Now it's time for paint. In this application, I used cabinet paint because it is a little bit more durable than regular paint. I would give this at least 2 coats just to make sure the wood is well protected. While the paint on the dresser dried, I started working on the drawer faces. When you cut these out, be conscious of the size of your dresser. You want to make sure that they fit. In my case, the height was a little bit less than 1/3 of the dresser, since there would be 3 drawers vertically, and the width of these faces would be a little bit less than half the width of the dresser. I pulled the router out one more time and ran the chamfer bit through each one of these faces. Just remember the small details as you're making your dresser. Next, I had to mark out the position for the drawer handles. I drew out a line along the height of the drawer face, then I centered the drawer handle by making sure that the distance from each side was equal. Last but not least, I pushed the handle into the wood to mark out the location where I'd be drilling the holes. I only had to measure once, because after I made sure that this fit perfectly, I used it as a template for the other drawer faces. I lined the boards up perfectly and drilled into the existing holes, since these should in theory be centered already. I painted them off camera and let them dry overnight. The other 3 drawer slides arrived the next day, so I installed them pretty quickly using the scrap wood that I mentioned earlier. I put a drawer face on top of each drawer box, and I used the trick from earlier where I drilled into the drawer face to mark out the location of the screws. This step is going to predetermine the location of the screw holes. Line up the drawer box and the drawer face, and begin screwing from the inside to the outside. Since everything's predetermined, attaching your drawer handle is going to be really easy. To attach the tabletop to the dresser, screw from underneath using the self-tapping screws one more time. I didn't mention this earlier, but the same logic applies when you're attaching the base to the dresser. Last but not least, I use Verithane's water-based polyurethane to give the tabletop a clear coat. If you're clear coating an area that's going to get a lot of physical contact, I would do at least 3 coats. Once that dries, the project is pretty much done.